Guys and gals, Mike Cricket 113, happy weekend. Just wanted to talk about communications for the people out there that maybe are not into GMRS, FRS, CB radio, ham radio, shortwave listening. You know, for emergency communications, I just put up a little short here. My buddy Adam talking about what he would use for emergency communications for his family and friends and neighbors. He chose FRS radios. Now, FRS radios are similar to, say, this Midland X Talker. You can't take the antenna off. It comes with. It's limited to anywhere between a half a watt and 2 watts. And there's 2 different kinds. The smaller versions always seem to be the half watt versions. These would be your bubble packs you can get in Best Buy. Walmart has Midlands, Cobras, you name it. And usually they have 22 channels. They are shared with GMRS. FRS is the way to go for pretty much the layperson, let's put it that way, to communicate with their family, kids, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, neighbors, whatever, neighborhood watch group or whatever. FRS is the way to go. FRS is a family radio service. It's basically no license is required. Like I said, 22 channel radios. And, you can set privacy codes. Now, you'll see on this Cobra here, it says 121 privacy codes. Let me just talk about privacy codes real quick. I don't want people to misunderstand that. They're going to think that it's, oh, nobody can hear what I'm saying to my daughter on the radio. That is not true. That is not true. When you put a CTCSS tone in, see if we can see that, like that one is 3 right now, or a DCS tone. These are digital squelch tones that are of a certain hertz, and they will only open the radio when the radio puts off that tone. So if you pick a number 3, it's going to put off a tone first, and then your signal. And if the other radio is programmed to that CTSS tone, they all have to be the same, then they can pick up whatever your daughter's saying to you. So that means that only the people that put the CTSS tone in, that whatever number your family decides to use, only you guys can talk in that group, okay? But that doesn't mean I can't listen to, or your neighbor or whoever, stranger, can't listen to your conversations. So whenever you're using these radios, and trust me, I've heard mothers and kids using these radios in my local QTH area, and I've heard their whole conversations, and sometimes the kids are playing with these, and mom and dad think they're a toy, and the kids are just keying them up. They're just keying them up, and I'm hearing everything that's going on. I'm not saying I'm a creeper, but there's people out there that are going to be listening. So make sure you teach your kids how to use them, teach your parents how to use them, and know that everybody's listening within a certain radius, you know what I mean? So a half watt FRS radio, similar to the X Talker here, which I'll put a link in the description in case you want to buy one on Amazon. I'll put links for all sorts of FRS radios and shortwave radios, because we're going to talk about that in the description in case you want to check them out. But FRS radios, the simple half watt version, channels 1 through 22, no repeaters. You can't use repeaters on these. These are just simplex radios. Simplex meaning radio to radio. Now, those frequencies that they share on here in the 462 to 467 megahertz, they can, you can talk to GMRS radio people who are using higher power radios up to 50 watts. So they're shared frequencies. And that's what's so great. If you are a GMRS licensed operator, and there's a natural disaster like flooding in your area or wildfire or something like that, you could pass these out to your neighbors and your friends, and still be able to communicate with them and get some information about what's going on with your local disaster. So that's what's so great about the bubble packs, that anybody can use them. There's no license required. So this is a 1/2 watt version, the Midland X Talker, and this Cobra Micro Talk, which also is an FRS radio. Just because it's a little bigger doesn't mean much. It still has weather band like the other one does, which I didn't mention. Sorry about that. And it also is 22 channel. It also has the privacy codes, like I said. But this one does low power and high power. And if you're looking for an FRS bubble pack radio, as I like to call them, make sure you look for the one that has high and low power, because back in 2017 or 2021, I can't remember. I think it's 2017, the FCC allowed FRS, Family Radio Service, to be up to 2 watts. So you can have 2 watts of transmitting powers on channel 1 through 7, and then 15 through 22. Notice I didn't mention channel 8 through 14. 8 through 14 is still limited to a 1/2 watt. A 1/2 watt will get you pretty far depending on conditions. If you live out in the Midwest of the United States where it's pretty flat, 1/2 watt could get you 3 miles if you have no obstructions in between radios. But if you live in a hilly and valley environment, or maybe you've got a hunting party, I know a lot of hunters, when they go deer hunting or pheasant hunting or something like that, they use these radios. So the mountains and the hills and the geology, meaning the rocks and stuff that are in between the stations, are going to limit the range of these to like a quarter mile to a 1/2 mile because of the terrain. But height is might, and even with a 1/2 watt or up to 2 watts, if you're high in a hill, and your other friend, say, is down in the valley, and you can see him, but he's like 3-4 miles away, and there's no obstruction from the hill to down to the valley, 4 miles, no problem. 1/2 watt radio or a 2 watt radio. But the 2 watt radios are going to cost a little more. Obviously, everything costs a lot more now, but they are worth it just to have that extra wattage on the right above the 70 centimeter band. The 462, 467 megahertz range is really good, for outdoors as well, but also inside buildings. Businesses use them. Your local dentist, I know my local dentist uses the Midland X Talkers in their building. But they'll penetrate walls and windows and glass and so many floors and whatnot. So if you're looking for FRS radio communication for your family and friends and neighbors and a hunting group or whatever, try to get the 2 watt radio. And there's many brands out there, but Midland and Cobra seem to be the bigger brands. Radiodity makes them. Baofangs also make them as well. And then there's a lot of off brands as well. So with that, now that your family's covered with some easy license-free communication that we use nowadays, another radio I would suggest to get is a shortwave radio that does AM, FM, and sideband. Sorry about the glare there, but a shortwave radio will have the availability to have your FM, standard FM, like 88 meg to 107 megahertz broadcast bands on there. Your AM broadcasts, which are so used to, so like in Boston, it's 10:30 a.m. That's your local news and whatnot. It's good to have a radio that can run off AC, meaning plug in the wall, or run on battery. Especially in an emergency situation, if there's no electric going on because of a bad storm or a hurricane, you want to have battery-powered radios so you can get the news and information you need for your local area. Shortwave radio, you're going to be able to hear signals from all over the world. There are still AM broadcasting companies that transmit on the shortwave frequencies. That's anywhere between, 1 megahertz all the way up to 30 megahertz, and everywhere in between. So I have videos, which I could also put a link in the description, on how to find and listen to shortwave broadcasts. I said single sideband because you could also, with the single sideband, if you know the band plan, which would be that up there for the amateur radio band plan of the frequencies I use, you could also listen to the ham bands, which would be great in an emergency because the hams are going to be on the air, passing traffic, meaning relay information from one group to another. In emergency, like Bermuda right now got hit by Ernesto, the hurricane. So who knows if their power's out, if their grid's out, and they have no communication. Well, the amateur radio operators are going to be relaying help and needs to the mainland to help out. So things like that is an example. You could pretty much listen to everything with a shortwave radio, especially if it has single sideband. You could listen to the amateur bands, and then your AM and FM to get local information about a disaster that may have happened, road closures, flooding, fire, you name it. Volcanoes, who knows? Maybe you live in Iceland and there's always something blowing its dome up there. So anyway, just some basic things that you can do and you can have on the ready, and keep them charged up. Make sure you get some radios that have some charging docks. This makes it a little easier to keep them charged up and ready for when you need them. So you have your communications with your family if you're in the house or on the farm or in the woods or whatever, and then you have your radio to listen to information coming in from around the country or your local area. Sorry about the long video. I hope you watch all the way through. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. This is Mike Cricket 11373. Have a good one and enjoy the weekend.